Hello, Dr. Dike Drummond here at the home of thehappymd.com in beautiful Seattle, Washington. Welcome to the latest episode of the Physicians on Purpose podcast. Tools so you can recognize and prevent your own burnout. Stories of burnout put to its highest and best use, and wellness leadership strategies. Everything you need to be a physician on purpose. Hello again, Dr. Dike Drummond here with the latest edition of the Physicians on Purpose podcast, coming from our home in beautiful Seattle, Washington, from thehappymd.com. In our last episode, we talked about how burnout has nothing to do with your batteries being run down. In fact, inside every physician, there is an energetic bank account. Think of a tall rectangle that at the top has a bar across the top that is marked F for full. About 2/3 down, there's another bar across the rectangle that's marked E for empty, but there's also a big area below empty where your energy is negative. Unlike the Energizer Bunny, when your energy as a physician is negative, you don't stop, you keep showing up to work. The challenge is your work is not the same quality that you're capable of when your energy is positive. And because this happens repeatedly in training, and because we're conditioned to never show weakness, what happens is over time, you lose your ability to sense where your energy is. But one thing you know is you can never stop in training or in practice. Well, let's go a little bit further because there's actually 3 of these energy accounts inside every physician. 3 different kinds of energy. You fill the 3 different accounts in different ways. And when any one of these is in a negative balance, it will produce a different symptom of burnout. Remember, burnout has 3 symptoms. Let's just review that really quick. Symptom number 1 of burnout is, number 1, exhaustion. Physical and emotional exhaustion. Typically in your head, you'll hear the phrase, I'm not sure how much longer I can keep going like this. Symptom number 2 of burnout is cynical and sarcastic. Compassion fatigue is another word for it. You're cynical and sarcastic about the very patients that you're supposed to be serving. And symptom number 3 is when you don't feel the purpose and the meaning in your practice. And the usual phrase in your head is, what's the use? Exhausted, cynical, and sarcastic, what's the use? Those are the 3 symptoms. There's an energy account that's in a negative balance that corresponds to each one. So the first energy account holds physical energy. Physical energy. It's the energy to move and work your physical body to accomplish the task, both thinking and physical, that you need to do in your practice. So let's see. What's the symptom when your physical energy account is in a negative balance? Well, it's exhaustion. Exactly. And how do you fill that physical energy account? Let's just think about it a little bit. Good nutrition, regular exercise, regular rest and sleep. All things that you typically don't get much of in our medical education. In matter of fact, we are trained to deny our physical needs in our med school and residency training process. It's just part of the survival contest. Tank number 1, physical. Exhaustion is the deficit symptom, and you fill it by taking good care of your physical body. Tank number 2, emotional energy. The symptom, if this tank is tapped out, is cynical, sarcastic, compassion fatigue. You don't have energy to be emotionally available for your patients or your family. How do you fill this tank? Well, in my experience coaching thousands of doctors, what I've found is that it is a relationship-based energy. And so try this little thought experiment. And if you need to stop and take a few notes, go for it. But I wouldn't skip this. It's really important. Think for a moment of all the people where you say to yourself, I love that person. All the people are animals where you say, I always bring in animals because they're such a good, pure infusion of this energy. I love this person. They may be a friend, they may be a family member, it might be an animal that somebody owns or that you used to have as a kid, right? Think of all the people and animals that you love. And now as you hold them in your awareness, Ask yourself, which one of these people, which one of these animals has it been way too long since I had some quality time with them? I haven't called them, I haven't written them, I haven't been with them in way too long, and I need a little shot of that person that I love. Write those names down. Who are the people that you love that it's been way too long since you contacted them? And then do it. Put it in your calendar and do what you need to do to write them a note. Call them up on the phone. Zoom them so you can see their face. Pay them a visit. Because when you feel like you've spent enough quality time with all the people that you love, you have plenty of emotional energy for other people. So physical, emotional, and the last tank is spiritual. And when I say spiritual, I'm not talking about religion. However, if you have a religious practice that brings you joy and connects you with your purpose, please carry on, do even more of it. But what I'm talking about is the connection between your practice of medicine, between your choice to be a doctor, and some sense of purpose, accomplishment, and meaning that comes from your practice of medicine. Remember the third symptom of burnout. What's the use? I'm not really making a difference here. There's no purpose in my practice. When you disconnect somebody from the purpose in their practice for long enough, what ends up happening is you begin to doubt the original choice to become a doctor in the first place. That's a tragedy. And I don't meet very many doctors who are that far down in their burnout. So, tank number one, physical. Deficit symptom, exhaustion. You feel it by taking care of your physical body, doing the things you learned to not do in residency. Rest, exercise, good nutrition. Tank number two, emotional. Deficit symptom is cynical, sarcastic, compassion, fatigue. You feel it by spending adequate time with all the people that you love. Tank number three is spiritual, the connection with purpose in your practice. And what I want you to know is this is the most powerful tank. When you get an infusion of spiritual energy, it fills all three for a good period of time. And the best way to tap into a spiritual energy infusion is, interestingly enough, what you do when a patient says thank you. And I want you to know that most of the time, when a doctor has a patient saying thank you to them, they absolutely blow it. They miss the opportunity for this spiritual energy infusion. So that's what I'm going to show you in the next podcast. What to do when a patient says thank you so that you can tap a spiritual energy infusion that's coming your way, specifically in that situation. So there we go. 3 tanks: physical, emotional, spiritual. The symptoms are exhaustion, compassion, fatigue. What's the use? And you know how to fill 2 of the 3 right now. Make sure you listen to the next podcast where I'm going to tell you what to do when a patient says thank you. That's the key to filling all 3 tanks by way of your spiritual energy account. So that's part 2 of Burnout Has Nothing to Do with Batteries Being Run Down. Dike Drummond here at the home of The Happy MD, beautiful Seattle, Washington. That's the latest edition of the Physicians on Purpose podcast. Until we meet again on the next podcast, can't wait to share it with you. You keep breathing and have a great rest of your day.